Who are you without labels? If you don't have a history or information of your past. They say that if you want to know your future, you need to know your roots. Where are you coming from? Who made you? If to look back far, far into the past, you may find an individual or a few who had a certain idea that they incorporated in their lives. At that moment, it was relevant, meaningful, and appropriate for them. In order for this idea to solidify in practice, those first men established this idea as a rule, or belief, or example for a behavior. They started spreading it and sharing about it, attracting minds, attracting allies. This is how first steps of marketing and politics began. Having followers who share your idea is crucial. This gives you a chance for recognition within a certain group of people. It gives power. It gives validation. But not all humans would follow. Some will, some won't, for they had their own ideas and also wanted validation. That's how natural sense of competition started. So, if a man cannot find allies and followers for his ideas, where would he turn? His children. It's easier. Children are smaller and weaker. They listen and follow. They depend and agree to everything a parent says. And so having descendants became important for those first people who realized what advantage family member concept has. Otherwise, maybe you didn't know, but first cavemen were not interested in raising their children or even in the concept of reproduction. They would force women to mate and then left them, only to satisfy their unconscious physiological need. They moved through territories for hunting and survival. And having woman next to a man who is weaker and slower was not wise. And then men noticed those women suddenly had those little humans who were even more weak, who were screaming and crying. That was not advantage at all during primitive cave life. Such little crying creatures would attract predators, danger, and slow the movement down. But when man evolved enough to realize the benefit of power, authority, and influence, he started recognizing and reconsidering the role of descendants. After all, it is easy. Just protect and feed them. Give them the leftovers, and they will stand for you, for your word. And so idea of one man started growing and spreading. And if you know human nature, even today, we have a tendency to exaggerate and decorate the first story. As an idea was growing into a story, it attained new details, new curves, and no one really cared anymore if it was true or not. The focus was given to keep the story flowing from father to son, from lineage to lineage. And what was 10 ideas of tribes in the past today became culture of thousands of nations. The stories became so entangled and complicated that it is impossible to dig back and find the truth. And one of the most powerful ideas that was imposed is you belong to a culture. Respect your tradition, respect your ancestors. Today, this is not only forced, but also voluntarily followed, loved, and desired. For this gives a sense of belonging, that I am not alone. And another idea of the tribes, to infect the mind of the people that you cannot be alone, that it is scary, it is impossible to develop by yourself. Because this marketing idea will force you to lean to a group of people. But it's not just a group of people you are leaning to. You are leaning to dependency of ideas. And so when I travel through different countries, locals offer me to taste their culture. Literally, food or ideas. They feel really great if I accept and adapt it into my life. And if I reject, it triggers negative reaction. They feel hurt, they feel misunderstood. For if I put my foot on their land, who am I not to respect local traditions? But then I ask myself, hold on a second, which land? Why is it your land? Who was here before you? And before them? And before them? Wasn't it just an idea that one man came here one day and just claimed this is his territory and established own rules and belief systems? So it was really taken forcefully, because nobody actually asks the land itself. Nobody asks the earth, the plants, the soil, if they would like to be a part of new political movement, if they want to support and submit to new ideas. It also really fascinates me when people feel need to ask for forgiveness, feeling guilt for they are living on someone's land. This is, for example, in Canada, when they say that these lands belong to local Indian tribes, or in Palestine, Israel, or Lebanon, where people still suffer for being kicked out of their homelands. Those generations who faced those conflicts are far gone. Now its descendants, granddaughters and grandsons. None of us was there to actually remember how it started. We are all left with stories. Yet we all submit to the idea that something very wrong is done here. I totally disagree and don't want to support this concept. You know why? Because many strong nations are kept in a state of victim. They do not want to rebuild power because of their talents and gifts, but because of fear and pain that happened very long time ago. It's like I will say, I feel sorry for you. I feel bad. You are rejected, abandoned, kicked out from your land. And now you don't have a land. You don't have name and roots. So please accept my forgiveness. And really this continues to plant seeds of sadness, darkness, weakness, and dependency. Now the whole Canadian government and white people feel they are infinitely owing something to so-called local tribes. For example, in Canada, there is a certain tribe that appeared around 1,000 years ago in North American lands. And that's a very long time for our minds, right? 11,000 years. But is it a long time for Earth, who is 16 billion years old? Who is this tribe to Earth? Just another group of ants that will be and then disappear. And so 11 years ago, before that tribe, who inhabited those lands? Another tribe? Maybe then it's their land. But before them, and before, who can be named as the true owner of any land? And why do we long for reference to any land in the first place? Because it feeds illusion that we belong somewhere, that something can be called my own. And if I can call something my own, then I can claim it. Then I will compete for it. I will apply my rules and laws to it. I will fight for it. I will draw a territory line and let people pass only if they pay respect or money. After all, culture and tradition is just a conglomerate of ideas. But what is an idea, actually? It is nothing. It is literally not even air, because air is something. It's a whole element. You are breathing it. It's real. But words that are said and then gone with the wind. Ideas. It's illusion. It creates simulation. We all live in a simulation made out of ideas that became so powerful that you cannot ever think differently. You cannot imagine another reality because someone already imagined this reality and claimed it to be absolute truth. Because I'm for the last 12 years hanging out around people who are into some sort of spiritual practices, I witness a lot of work focused on ancestry. Women especially carry the word for reclaiming own ancestry. They offer rituals and ceremonies, and it's really beautiful. For many participants, it's also emotional, but only because there is this whole void in the heart. longing to belong to something. And so I ask myself again, and I always ask myself, and this is what gives me power to stand in my own skin, in my own ideas for myself. Who is my ancestor? Okay, who is my true ancestor? Which nationality or tribe can claim me? Which, if I have lived thousands of lives, was born in thousands of different places. I had so many different colors of skin. I spoke so many different languages. Who should I follow? The Mayans? The Mediterraneans? Central Asia? India? I know what my inner says. When I ask this question, I hear the answer. My inner self says, it's none. I cannot by my nature belong to either of tribes, because they are all ideas fabricated by humans. They are not real. But then what is real? Then where am I coming from? And word ancestor, have you ever asked yourself, what does it mean? It means, from Latin, before, go. Something before. What was before me? Before this life and this culture that I was born into? There was another. And before, another. Okay, so what was before the first life that I ever received in physical body on earth? What was right here where I'm standing now? It was animals, plants, and rocks. Have you ever read Bible, Genesis? Before first humans, there was life already. And if we reverse backwards, animals are the ancestors of human race. Plants are the ancestors to animals. Rocks are the ancestors to plants. And so with full awareness, respect, and gratitude, I can say that my grandfather is a rock, is literally a rock. My other grandfather is a grass, and they are still carrying their energy until this day. When I walk, when I breathe, they actually allow me to walk and breathe. They continue feeding my physical body. Not those people who died in second, seventh, or 20th generation before me. Because when those generations were alive, I was in another body. I was belonging to so-called another tribe. But those natural living elements, they are still developing me. And guess what? They are not imposing ideas. They are not demanding respect. They are not even talking. They are silent. Silent presence, full of potency. They completely accept me the way I am. And they will support me no matter what religion, culture, or food I choose, or if I will break free from all. But this is not the end. There was another first ancestor who came before all of that. The core rock. Today it's liquid iron core inside of the earth, the most ancient form of life here. Did you know that the earth was first this huge asteroid rock? It took millions of years for it to start changing and growing. So, can we say that Earth's core is our ancestor? But what was before the core? Where did it come from? Scientists today already discovered that the first asteroid that eventually became the core came from outer space, from deep, dark cosmos. For some reason, the cosmos threw that gassy, icy rock into the space and suspended it right here, not 1 centimeter to the left or right, exactly right here. And until this day, the cosmos is still holding the core in the perfect condition and location. And all the water and necessary chemical elements also came from cosmos. This is another scientific fact. Many of minerals and elements were not originated on Earth. So with even bigger respect and deeper gratitude, I may say that my first ancestor is cosmos. Doesn't it sound surreal? Completely new idea to my human, unflexible mind. How can I even grasp that? Cosmos to which you don't even relate when you walk and talk, eat and sleep. I mean, who is thinking of cosmos in everyday life? It's so far somewhere out there that it doesn't even feel real. In our daily perception of reality, cosmos doesn't exist. Yet, it can swallow us with all our ideas, words, fears, houses, cars, and plastic, with all our family values and bank accounts. And we have a potential to disappear. Complete annihilation of what you think represents you today, with all your self-important views and opinions. So, what should you do now with this new realization? The answer is individuality. Independent, individual self. Full ownership of own words, thoughts, and choices. Yes, you can follow any culture and idea. Just ask yourself, did you choose that 100% on a free will? And if you are Muslim today, maybe you will become a Christian. Who can stop you? Who can judge you? And maybe you find all existing ideas old and outdated. Perhaps you are here to create new reality, your own, in which you do not depend on followers and allies. You yourself is enough to grow those ideas into a self-nurturing, self-nourishing environment. And remember, in the moment you will try to impose your reality, your ideas. You become a parasite. For parasite can only survive by the weakness of others. Well, that's about it. That's all I want to share with you today. Now I wish you a pleasant warm day and see you next time.